Hey, how's it going? You're here with Alex from Holy Grail, Ibanez Guy 88. Welcome back. I know it's been a long time since I made a video. Unfortunately, I've had no time to make anything because of my tour schedule. So I've been on the road pretty much all year, and I'm back for a couple weeks and then I go back on the road again. So right now I had a lot of requests to do a video showing all the gear and amps and all the good stuff that I use live. So I actually go through 3 different amp heads, and let's begin with the Mesa Boogie Triaxis and 290 setup. It's powered by the Furman PL Plus power conditioner, and it's in a Gator rack mount case. It is a 4-space, and it's just bare bones minimum, just the preamp, the power amp, and the power conditioner. And it's also in this really awesome fire red color. So when I'm not bringing my Triaxis on the road, I'm bringing my Mesa Boogie Mark V. It's actually the second Mesa amp that I've ever owned in my life. The first being the Mesa Dual Rectifier, and then since then going back with Mesa, I picked up the Mark V. So it's an awesome amp, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't tried it out. Last on the list is the Mesa Boogie Mark V 25. So it's the little brother of the Mesa Mark V. And it's just super awesome, really portable, and I actually built the case for it. It's out of 1/4-inch plywood with duct tape and cardboard, and then after that, once it's all ready to go, I pop it into the Mesa Boogie slip that they usually provide you with cabs and amp heads and whatnot, and it looks pretty good. The cab I use is a Mesa 412 Traditional Rectifier straight cab that is loaded with vintage 30s, and I run all of my heads at 8 ohms. The cab lives inside yet another Gator case, and they make pretty awesome cases. Now the backside opens up to give me access to the cabinet inputs, and it even has a lot of extra free space to store many cables, including some of my speaker cables and instrument cables, but I wouldn't recommend putting anything other than cables in the back. As far as my pedals go, I got this pedal board from eBay actually. It was around like 30 bucks to get it, and then I tore the inside felt and put in the wooden riser that you see right here. It's pretty awesome and really sturdy. And then for power, I'm actually using the Joyo power supply 2, and if for any reason that fails on me, I have a backup, which is the PetalTrain Volto. And then I also do use that for if I ever go overseas for any tours that have crazy voltages of like 240, 250 in like Europe and Australia. So it's a really handy pedal, portable pedal power actually. So definitely recommend it if you can find it. So the first pedal in the chain is my Ibanez Tube Screamer Mini, and that also gets changed between the Mini and the Zakk Wylde overdrive that I have. I don't personally like one over the other, but I just like to mess around with overdrive pedals just to see how they sound. I love changing pedals here and there, so that's one that's always constantly changing, but I do love both of them equally. And then it's going into the Boss noise suppressor, the NS2, and then that's going into the TC Electronics polytune, into the Line 6 Relay G70, and that's pretty much all of the pedals up front. As far as the effects loop for my amp, I'm only using one pedal for all 3 of them, which is the TC Electronics Flashback Mini, and it's my delay for my lead sounds. Of the 3, the Mark V 25 is the only amp that has an additional pedal in the effects loop, and that's only because it doesn't have a solo boost function in it. Usually with the Mark V, it has a solo boost, and then in the Triaxis, I can program my lead channel to have a volume jump. So with it, I'm actually using a TC Electronics Spark Mini, and that's going through the effects loop first into the flashback delay, and then right back to the effects return. And usually I have it around the mid-range, so I'm getting like maybe 9 to 10 dBs of boost. And that's all you really need. I mean, 20 dBs max is pretty overkill, so I wouldn't recommend going full blast. As far as channel switching goes, I'm using a Rocktron Mediumate for the Triaxis, and You can change the names of all your presets, and it's really cool. I have two different banks that I'm going through. I have one that's using the Mark II C+ mode in the Triaxis and lead 2 yellow, and then I have another bank that's using the lead 2 red channel, which is the Searing lead, Mesa Boogie Mark III, I believe. And I go between the two because they both sound really good, and I can't figure out which one I really like more. So I'm always like changing my banks and presets. It's really awesome. As far as the Mark V goes, I just take off the Rockshon Mediamate when I need to use the Mark V, and I pop it in the same spot. So the bottom of the pedal board will always be for my amp switching, regardless of which amp I'm using. So that implies to the Mark V 25. And it's just a little 2-switch pedal, so it's not too crazy. And the only thing that's different too when I change to the Mark V 25 is I put the 2 pedals that are in the effects loop into the front of the pedal board, mainly because the Mark V 25 doesn't have an effects loop on and off switch, so I have to manually turn on the delay and the boost by myself. The last thing I use is the Mesa Boogie cab clone. There is a cab clone built into the Mark V 25, so obviously when I use that, I don't need to use it, but I do have this standalone, and what it does is that it's a cabinet simulator. It has 3 different modes. It has the vintage cab, the open back, and the closed. Depending on the room, I'm using the vintage and sometimes the open back, just for a different sound, and it eliminates the need for a mic in front of your cab. So usually if you go to a lot of venues that are smaller, or like their PA is kind of messed up, or they have like bad mics, usually it doesn't sound that great. But you just tell your monitor guy to plug directly in, and usually it sounds really good. I haven't had a show where I didn't like it. Some shows I just kind of tweak the mid-range and the bass, just depending on the room as well. Sometimes it gets too like woofy, so I back down the bass, and then I up the mids just a little bit, but not too much where it gets like honky, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. I'm gonna be making another video just demonstrating clips from the cab clone, and also the sound from the camera, just to get 2 different comparisons. I know the only way to really hear it is to just come to our shows and listen to it live. So until then, if you have any questions regarding any of the gear that I'm using, or if I skipped something with my gear, just let me know in the comments below. So like the video or dislike it if you find it too boring. But yeah, that's pretty much my rig. And oh, before I forget, usually the Ibanez that I take on the road with me, I usually bring 2 of them, and it always varies. I don't have like a go-to because they're all awesome. So until next time, we'll see you guys.